Hey guys, Dan here and welcome back to lesson 19 in our electric blues course. And what we're going to do now is we're going to put that turnaround theory into some practice and we're going to now learn a track. Now, over the next two lessons, we're going to learn two different quick change style blues tracks incorporating the turnaround. But the most important thing that actually we're learning here is how to quickly find these blues, these kind of 12-bar blues zones on the neck in any key. Okay, so although I'm going to show you a quick change blues in B, I'm going to be explaining how you can move that super fast, including the turnaround, into every single key that you can imagine. So you can tackle any blues track. So pick up the guitar and let's get started. Hey guys, so if you're just tuning in, then do remember that you can head on over to the website to get all of the interactive tab, the fretboard diagrams, and the full write-ups for every single lesson. It looks great on the mobile, on the desktop, however you're viewing it. Head over there and we'll put the links in the description and in this video. Also, please do like and subscribe to this video if you're enjoying it so far and if you're enjoying the course, as well as leave us a comment. We make sure we get back to every single comment that you guys leave. Okay then guys, so that's the track that we're going to be working with, and the first thing to note is this is called a quick change blues, okay? So up to now we've learned this 12-bar blues structure, which is perfect and the most famous style of structure, whereby you have the root chord for 4 bars, the 4 chord for 2 bars, the root chord for 2 more bars, then you go the 5, the 4, and then the turnaround, okay? And that's kind of the basic structure that we've been working with. Now we're going to do something called a quick change blues, okay? And you will typically see a quick change blues, a kind of upbeat kind of shuffle tempo like that, as well as in a very slow blues, which is something, a slow blues is something we're going to talk about more in the kind of second level of our blues course. So not in this particular course, but we will get there. Fear not. Of course, we've got you covered. Now, the quick change simply means that rather than hanging around on the root chord for 4 bars, so in this case we're in B, so I'm doing a B dominant 7, okay? Rather than hanging around that for 4 bars, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm playing it for 1 bar and then moving to the 4 chord, you know, in this case the E7 for 1 bar before coming back to the root chord. So basically our normal first 4 bars, which would have just been root chord, root chord, root chord, root chord, have now become root chord, 4 chord, root chord, root chord, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Everything else in the 12 bar stays exactly the same. So there's no other change. The quick change literally refers to the fact that you do a quick change at the beginning. So 1 chord straight up to the next chord in the next bar, and then you're back into your normal routine of your 12 bar blues. Okay? So I think that would probably be the second most common style of 12 bar changes. Okay, so literally the quick change. So that hopefully makes a bit of sense. Now, what I want to also bring into this track that we're now learning is just a different way maybe of approaching, because last time what we did was a cool little riff, you know, which is just great, and that really hopefully pushed you. Now I want to do it as if I was kind of in more like an upbeat, kind of 50s, kind of jazzy, bluesy kind of band, and I just need to kind of comp. We call it comping. You're just really providing the rhythm aspect with some harmony. So basically, you're bringing the rhythmical of the 12 bar, and the harmony is that you're providing the chord, but you don't need to do anything more than that, really, okay? So this is a great way to do that, and when you do that, you don't really need to have full chords so much, okay? So you'll notice that as I'm going through this track, it looks more like this. Okay? So basically what I'm doing is I'm taking triad versions, so 3-note versions of our basic chord, so that I can really just groove along to it without filling out. I don't need 6-string chords, 5-string chords. I don't even need 4-string chords. Just the 3 key notes is all I really need here, okay? So let me kind of show you how I'm doing that. So when I take the root chord of our usual dominant, which you might be playing like this, you might be playing like this, however you're playing it, some of you might even be playing it like this. However you're playing it, what we're going to do is we're just going to totally ignore the E string. So remove the E string. We're still doing nothing on the A string. So we can literally just fret a chord that looks like this. Okay? Or if you're happy, if you've been happy doing it like that, then just literally remove the B, the root note at the bottom, okay? And play it like that. So you've literally either got your first finger flattened against the D, G and B string with your second finger on that major third. Or if you've found that a little bit challenging, you might now really love this. So you got your first and second finger on the D and the G string. Sorry, yeah, the D and the B string, and your third finger on the G string. Okay, almost as if you're doing like literally a D-shape open chord, but you're just doing it on these strings now. And what that's giving us, as we well know by this point, is a flat 7, a major third, and a 5th, okay? So we don't need the root, do we, really? Because at the end of the day, the bass player's going boom, 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 or boom, 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 boom. You know, whatever the bass player's doing, we're just going to be giving it that. So that's a really refined way of just, you know, just comping, essentially. So just playing the rhythm with a little bit of harmony. And rhythmically, it's just these short stabs. Now you'll notice I'm doing it kind of like, almost, I would say, almost in a bit of a Stevie Ray style Texas comping vibe, which is giving it a bit more shuffle. It's meaning that on the downstrokes I'm hitting the chord, and on the upstrokes I'm actually hitting a dead sound. Ha! It's a bit more complicated, so you've got 2 levels here. You can either just kind of go 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, just grabbing that chord, downstrokes, and I think that sounds really good in a kind of R&B, a kind of more jazzy kind of approach. But if you're trying to fill out the sound a little bit more in a kind of more Texas kind of bluesy way, then maybe on the upstrokes, add in that crunch. So basically mute the strings and crunch. Okay? Either one is fine. Just remember that this is all swung. So we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? Now, when we go to the 4 chord, instead of this, we're just going to take the top 3 notes. So root, third, flat 7. Okay? So we omit the octave of the root, which we obviously just don't need, do we? So we're literally just kind of just using these fingers now, so we don't have to do that. We reshuffle it to this. So we've got second finger, first finger, third finger. Root, third, flat 7. Everything else is blocked off, okay? So we essentially changed this into this. Even simpler, okay? And again, you've got the same concept. You can either just go 1, 2, 3, 4, or with the upbeat, doing the crunch, you get that, okay? And you apply that same chord shape when we go to the E, the F sharp, in this case, so the 5 chord, you do the same thing, okay? So what we get with our quick change blues is this. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, back to the root chord, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now some of you are thinking, whoa there, what did you just do? Well, I just did, and I'm going to make this as simple as possible for you guys, because it really is simple. I created tension, which I then released. What's the blues all about? Tension and release. So this is it. This is all I've done. I've literally taken the chord, which is the correct chord, so this is my B7. I've taken the whole thing up chromatically, 1 semitone, kind of like our turnaround, right? We go up chromatically this time. That creates tension. Every single one of those notes is totally, totally wrong. We're way out, aren't we? So we've gone up by a semitone on each one, which couldn't be more dissonant if we tried. But when we come back down, it releases that, okay? It's a very, very common thing to do, even when you're comping like this in the blues. So 1, 2, okay? Just going up just for 2 beats makes a big difference. It pulls the sound up, brings it back down. For the guy playing the lead over the top, they don't even need to worry about it, okay? They just know that my lead is going to sound really interesting for about 2 beats because the rhythm player is making it interesting for them, and then it resolves itself, okay? So we start on the 1 chord, so let's just go through this properly now. So we've got 1 chord, 4 chord, then back to the 1 chord. Then we're going to slide up, back down. Then the 4 chord, 1, 2, 3, then back to the 1 chord. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to go to the 5 chord. And then that just absolute, almost essential chromatic shift. You know, so we're going to go from the 5 chord. 1, 2, 3. Chromatically move down to the 4 chord. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And now we bring in our turnaround. So the root, okay? Then from there, we're going to jump up to our B7 shape. So our root chord D shape, caged, okay, which you should well know. Remove the root, hit these notes and descend. 1, 2, 3, exactly as we talked about it in the last lesson. Back to the B7. And then, so again here, rather than the whole thing, we're just going to use this new triad version, 3-note version like so. So you get, okay. So at no point I don't even need my little finger anymore. That can just be chopped off. Don't need that. We're just using those really cool little triad shapes, and it really just makes a refined sound, okay? And that's your first application of your turnarounds as well. So nice simple turnaround using that chromatic idea, but really effective. Sounds great. So let's just try this track with a 70 BPM. Okay, quick change blues. Okay, 2, 3 in B. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. That's my quick change, and now I'm back to my root. Gonna go up. Little chromatic there, and then 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and back to the root. 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to hang on this one now. Then we're going to go to the 5 chord, F sharp, chromatic down, and let's do our turnaround. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, and start again. Okay, we'll do that again. We're just going to go up in pace a little bit, so let's bring it up. 85, 1, 2, 3, 4. Great start done. 1, 2, 3. That's a quick change right there. One, 2, 3, 4, 5 chord. 4 chord, turnaround. Okay, so it should start to become instinctual as to how you do this, all right? Now, the last thing I want to say at the end of this lesson is that once you've kind of got that in there, so you now know how to do a standard 12 bar, now you can do a quick change as well, and you can also throw in a really cool turnaround. We can so easily move that, okay? Remember this pattern for any time you want to play the blues on the root on the E string, okay? So as an example, I'm gonna go back up to 90 BPM here, and I'm gonna roll through keys, okay? And I want you to try and do this with me. Just take this as like an experiment. Can you get this? Have you got this right now? Okay? Because in theory, we've got a really nice grouping. We know that when we're on the E string, if I say, for example, the key of G, we've got our G there, we've got our 4 chord underneath, we've got our 5 chord across there. So root, 4, 5. And it always is like that. So if I'm in B, root, 4, 5, root, 4, 5, A, root, 4, 5, root, 4, 5. So now with this new way of doing it, it's even easier, potentially. And then when it comes to the turnaround, all you've got to make sure you know how to do is go from the root up the octave to find the cage chord, and then copy the pattern in, okay? So I'm gonna throw a few at you. We're gonna go 90 BPM, and we're gonna start with G, and we're gonna do a quick change blues. Okay, so try and do it with me. Ready? Quick change blues in G. What more instructions do you need? 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's go up this chromatic, up, up, down. 4 chord. We're playing in G. We're doing a quick change. Simple as that. 5 chord. And let's bring in that turnaround. Okay. How did you manage? Just rewind, play along again, and make sure you get it, okay? Let's do a blues in B flat. Some of you might be thinking, no, not B flat. So we'll do a normal change blues in B flat, so not quick change this time. So we're gonna hang around on that root chord for 4 bars. 1, B flat, here we go. Now if you hang around on the B flat, you can always do that chromatic up. Now let's go to the 4 chord. Back to the root chord. Now over to the 5 chord. In this case, that's going to be an F. The 4 chord, E flat, and the 1 chord. I just made very short work out of a concept that a lot of people really struggle over. Oh my God, it's not E, it's not A. You know, it's B flat, but it doesn't matter, because you're learning it so well now. This is the way to learn it. You've got these patterns, these structures. You've got a few ideas now for each one, okay? And you can move it around. So anytime you find the key on the E string, just copy and paste in that structure. You now know how to do a really awesome turnaround with that as well. You know a quick change, you know a normal change or slow change, I guess you could call it, but just not a normal 12 bar or a quick change 12 bar. And also you'll start hearing it. You might be listening to a kind of B.B. King record and be going, okay, that's a quick change. Okay, or you're listening to a really cool Clapton track and it's like, quick change, that's a normal change. Maybe you're listening to a Chuck Berry rock and roll thing and you're hearing, and you're like, okay, that's a normal change, but he might then go, and you're like, quick change, nice. So you're becoming more and more aware of what's happening when you're listening to 12 bar blues tracks. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Please do remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. We do our absolute best to answer every single comment. If you've got questions, here is the place to write them so that we can get back to you and really help you out with this stuff. If you want to carry on with this course and you're loving it, then you can find the next lesson right here, and you can start the whole thing. The whole playlist is here on YouTube as well. So click one of those 2 links and I'll see you in the next lesson.